pal, we salute you. Actually, I can probably say his last name now because he's retired, and it doesn't matter. So I'll say his last name too.
Is he retired from the Secret Service or something?
No, he's retired from a job where
you can't talk about things?
Well,
no one's allowed to know your last name?
John, shut up and salute. Hal McLean, we salute you. Coming to you somewhat live from the Beer to Whiskey studios on the taproom floor of the Greenville Beer Exchange, or GBX as the cool kids call it, on Lawrence Street in terrific downtown Greenville, South Carolina. I'm Russ Heaps, and welcome to this episode of It's Just Bourbon. I'm here with my good buddy. Well, actually...
Acquaintance.
Well, no, I'm trying to decide.
Oh, he was less sure about the bourbon than he was about our friendship.
Yeah, I'm sure about the friendship.
I'll take that.
Yeah, actually, this is anything but bourbon.
Is it?
Yeah, this is just bourbon. No, it's not. It's a whiskey. It's a blended whiskey.
It says so right on the bottle.
It does. Yeah. So this is an episode.
We're not starting over.
No, we're not. Again, this is an episode of anything but bourbon, and I'm here with my good buddy, Big John
Still
Richards. And this is where we find something that isn't a bourbon or rye, and we sniff it, we sip it, we kibitz about it. If we know anything about the distillery, in this case, we know something about it. If we know anything about distilling, which we know a little bit about, but not much, we talk about that. But anyway, this is a new release called Traveler Whiskey. And it's supposedly, I say supposedly like I'm discounting it, but it could very well be. But it's a collaboration between
Harlen, Wheatley, and Chris Stapleton.
Yes, Harlen Wheatley at Buffalo Trace, and Chris Stapleton, the country music singer.
Zoom in on your phone. You can see the back of the bottle.
Oh, well,
not anymore because Russ turned it around.
Or you can look it up.
You could zoom in if you backtrack on the video.
Or you can look it up online. But anyway, John and I were both talking before we started rolling tape that, the whole celebrity thing is kind of a.
It feels gimmicky.
It feels gimmicky, but I get, number one, because it's Buffalo Trace, which I have a lot of respect for. And it's Chris Stapleton, who, I
have a lot of respect for.
Yes, I have a lot of respect for. I think actually there could have actually been a collaboration going on.
I'm sure there was. This is batch 40 or 44 or 40.
This is, yes.
Out of 50. So they came together and chose this batch to release. And I think that he must have had a point. If I were Chris Stapleton, I would not let someone put my name on something that I didn't love.
Right.
So I recognize that. And I made a little piece when we were talking earlier, Russ, about, like, specifically my brain went to, there's a wine company, called Rabble. And it's super cool. You can go up to the thing in the grocery store, whatever, at your house. It doesn't matter where you do it. But you can put your phone camera up to this bottle of wine, and the scene on the wine comes to life. So, and they're all about natural disasters. One of them is like Vesuvius. So if you walk up to this wine, you can put your phone. You have to use their app, but phone camera up there, and the label just starts. You watch your phone instead of the label, and the Vesuvius erupts, and
what's
people
that have
run
to
away.
do with what we're doing here?
What it has to do with what we're doing here, Russ, which is where I was going. If you had not interrupted me.
It's been a long day.
This wine came across my palate at Keg and Cellar some years ago, and my saw him there was Chris Wood. Salute. He didn't help us, but he still helps us every day. And Chris was like, "What's all well and good, but if the juice isn't any good, I don't want the wine." And
Correct.
so, right, but it turns out the juice is good on that particular wine, and that's where I was going to go with this. It's great to put Chris Stapleton's name on your beer or your whiskey, but if the juice isn't any good,
If you look at the label, this is called 40th, how do they word it? Blend number 40. And that's because they actually did 50 blends. And out of those 50 blends, this is one they picked. This is a blended whiskey. The juice comes from a number of Sazerac distilleries, of which Buffalo Trace is one. And I suspect that Buffalo Trace is a big contributor to this. But yeah, so that's what's going on here.
yeah. So we were talking like 50
And this
different distilleries. Like it says on the back, it's a blend of something. I can't read it without my glasses. They're right there. I mean, they're right there, and I'm still not going to put them on. But it says it's a blend from many different distilleries, and I was like, where'd they all come from? And Russ said, oh, they're all Sazerac distilleries. And I was like, it makes sense. Because you wouldn't be blending stuff from Old Pro. You wouldn't be blending stuff from Makers,
Beam.
from Beam, from whatever. You would blend your own stuff, but somehow they came up with, I guess, whatever this is, huh?
So this was released, the very first bottle of this was released in January of 2024. That's how new this is. And I had never heard of it. Oh, we have to do a shout out.
Uh-oh.
I'd never heard of this.
Shout out.
My fraternity brother Hal from Knoxville came over to visit me 2 or 3 weeks ago and gifted me this. So Hal, we salute you. Actually, I can probably say his last name now because he's retired and it doesn't matter. So I'll say his last name too.
Is he retired from the Secret Service or something?
No, he's retired from a job where,
You can't talk about things?
well, he
No
could,
one's allowed
but
to know your last name?
John, shut up and salute. Hal McLean, we salute you. So,
We had a laugh out of Travis, I think.
anyway, I really like this. The moment I sipped it, I went, oh, wow. I turned on some friends of mine, Jeff and Heather,
Oh, nice.
to it.
Yeah.
They bought a bottle of it, and they bought a second bottle of it because they drank the first one. So, yeah, this is a nice, proof is 90.
Now we're gonna talk numbers?
Well, I forgot. The proof is 90. It's aged. Every component that goes into it, every bourbon that goes into it is aged at least 4 years. We don't know what the mash bill is because it's all different stuff. However, the price, this is the best part. Price is $40.
Huh.
So,
Understood, sir.
text Miss Lily.
I like the nose on it. I've waved it around my nose a couple times.
Oh yeah.
You've got to be careful. You can't get your nose deep into these kinds
No.
of things.
Because it
It's just,
fries your.
yeah, it just completely turns to acetone, turns to hairspray. There's a lot of butterscotch and butterscotch and more butterscotch.
Yep. A little bit of
That's real nice.
a little brown sugar,
Yeah.
some butterscotch, some.
Yeah, it really turns more into that brown sugar side, the caramelized sugar side. I guess butterscotch is too. Yeah, that sort of turbinado sugar, like
I don't know
unrefined.
I don't know what turbinado sugar is, but
Yes, you do.
do I?
Yes, you do.
Do I have any in my pantry? Do you think?
Probably. I bet you do. I'll bet you $1.
All right, Mortimer.
I
All right, Mortimer.
don't know what
Trading
any of those things
places.
are.
Trading places.
You got me on that one. I know that Trading Places is a movie.
Kids. Kids.
Nobody gets to say that to me. I'm 213 years old this year. That is really fun, Russ. Now there's a little bit of the alcohol presence, but it is real small. And there's this toffee sweet, bready, malty, caramelly side of things that it doesn't. I don't get a lot of fruit out of this.
I don't get any fruit out of it.
Sometimes you get cherries or raspberries or something or apples. No, apples. Oh, apples. But I don't get any of that out of this. This is all on the bread side.
I like this as well as any whiskey.
Yeah.
I still have some bourbons I like probably more than this, but this is as good as whiskey
This
as I think I've come across.
this to me is a kind of a standalone gem. Like, you don't need something else to make this whiskey good. You sit and sip this and it's great. Sometimes, even Eagle Rare, sometimes, speaking of apples, I feel like I need to have food with it, something else with it to balance down, or correct is the wrong word, but move the profile in a different direction. Good eye, by the way. And this one, I think, would get less good with food. Like, I think this is almost
I think this is
maybe
going to
intentionally built to be a standalone thing.
I think this is going to get less good with water. And I've had some sips out of this, and I haven't put water in it.
Put
This
two,
is
two drops in mine.
This is the first time I've put water in it, and I think it's so good.
I suspect.
Right out
So
of the
we've had
bottle.
some of these where it's smooth or sweet or something, and you put water in it, and the spice opens up. And I think that's what's going to happen here. In fact, I hope that's what's going to happen here, because I would like for this to become a little bit more spicy. See what happens.
It does get a little spicier.
Oh, it does. Oh no, I like that way better.
Do you really?
I do. Way better. It mellows down that sweetness a bunch, and the spice comes out in the end, where it's like, this is, I think with those 2 drops, a much more well-balanced whiskey than it was undiluted. And it's 90, so it could stand a little bit there. But that is, before the water, I thought it was good. After the water, I want it.
Now I'm getting a little more oak.
Yes, I'm getting more of the wood for sure.
Yep.
I'm getting that barrel spice on the finish.
Yep.
Even smelling it's different. Even smelling it, it smells more like, when I first smelled it, it smelled like honey. And now it smells more like maple syrup. It is insane to me that little tiny amount of water can make that big of a difference in what's going on. Do not put ice in your whiskey. Stop it.
If you want to put ice in it, put ice in it. But you're not doing your palate any favors.
If you want to put ice in it, get some cheap. Don't spend a bunch
Well,
of
that's
money
true.
on it and put
That's
ice in
true.
it.
That's true. If you're going to shoot your tequila, buy Cuervo.
Right.
If you're going to sip it, buy something else, something better. Casamigos or
Ozul.
Clase
Azul.
Azul.
Let's get. Well, oh, I'm
Or-
sorry. No, we were going you went the other direction. I went back to the shoot direction.
Oh,
But Luna Azul is a great tequila, 100% agave that you can still get for $20 a bottle, $25 of 750. It's 100% agave, and it's absolutely the best value on the market for tequila. All right, off we go.
so damn lucky. See you next time.